Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Torah and Chill. Sorry about that. Okay. So this week's Parsha, we are introduced to the name Yisrael. So how could I not ask for it? Okay, in this week's Parsha Vayishlach, we talk about this very strange scene in the Torah. Okay, it says in the first aliyah of the Torah, okay. ויוותר יעקב לבדו, ויאבק איש עמו עד עלות השחר, וירא כי לא יכולו, ויגע בכף ירכו. Right, we have the story of Yaakov wrestling with an angel. Okay, it says in the Torah, Yaakov was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. When he perceived that he could not overcome him, he struck the socket of his hip. So Jacob's hip socket was dislocated as he wrestled with him. And then he said, dawn has broken. And he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. He said to him, what is your name? He replied, Yaakov. He said, no longer will it be said that your name is Yaakov, but Yisrael, for you have striven with the divine and with man and have overcome. Okay, so this story is a little bit weird, all right? We have Yaakov, he had crossed the river in the middle of the night. He realized he forgot something. He goes back to get it, hoping no one's obviously not expecting anything to happen. And then all of a sudden, this man comes up and starts to wrestle with him. And Rashi says that this man was actually the angel of Esau. And the question is, as we should always ask with weird stories in the Parsha, why is this here? Why do we have this wrestling match, this divine wrestling match in the Torah? Okay, what is it coming to teach us? And then the second question is, if you're gonna have a wrestling match, it should be like fight, win, lose. I don't know, like a normal thing. Why does it end up this weird thing where he can't win, so he hits him, and then he won't let go. So the angel says to him, I need to go, and Yaakov says, give me a bracha, and then he says, okay, your name's not Yaakov anymore, it's Yisrael. What kind of a bracha is that? Like what is going on here, basically? So we're going to start with the second question here. We're going to try and figure out, what is up with the end of the story? That what happened there with him calling him, with him changing his name. Okay, so we can find two clues. We can find two clues to try to answer this question. We're going to look at the first one right now. Is in Gemara, brought down in Gemara and Brachot. And the Gemara and Brachot says that Lo yikare shimcha od Yaakov ki Yisrael yesh shimcha Lo she'akor Yaakov mimkomo ela Yisrael ikar v'Yaakov tafelo. That the name Yisrael should not uproot the name of Yaakov, but rather that the name of Yisrael will be this ikar, this essential primary name, and the name Yaakov will be this secondary, less like lower level name for whatever reason. Okay, so we see very interestingly that even though this is the Malach of Esau, and this is apparently some sort of bracha, that the name of Yisrael is actually some sort of like upgrade for Yaakov. And when we look later on in the Parsha, we see also that Hashem himself even changes Yaakov's name as well, right? It says later on in the Parsha, God said to him, your name is Yaakov. Your name shall not always be called Yaakov, but Yisrael shall be your name. Thus he called his name Yisrael. Okay, so here too we see again that it's sort of an upgrade, that your name was Yaakov, but now it's going to be Yisrael. And the question we have on this pasuk is, why is it so repetitive? Like, why does it start by saying your name is Yaakov, but it's not going to be Yaakov anymore? Now we're going to call it Yisrael. What's the point? This is God talking. Like, why? We know his name is Yaakov. What's the deal with that? So the answer to this question is actually hinted in what Hashem had in the scene when Hashem calls Yaakov by the name Yisrael. We see here from the Gemara and from here that the name Yaakov and the name Yisrael obviously are representing two different things. What do they represent? So if we look at the name of Yaakov, we know that Yaakov represents, right, the name Yaakov, the root of Yaakov is Akev, is a heel. And how are we going to find the answer to what Yaakov is supposed to represent? Let's look in Parshat Akev. So if we skip to the end of the Torah, we get to Parshat Akev, where it's starting to review and talking about how we're supposed to follow the mitzvos and all that we've been through, and how we're supposed to continue our dedicated service to God. And as this parsha start of Akev, right, this shall be the reward when you hearken to these ordinances. Right, these are when you listen to the mitzvot that you're commanded to do. This will be a reward. And Rashi explains that ima mitzvot hakalot she'adam dash be'ekuvav tishma'um. That what does it mean? You have to follow the mitzvot, specifically the mitzvot that a man tends to trample with his heel. the minor mitzvot, the details, the little things. This is what he said. This is what Rashi brings down as Akev, and this is what Yaakov, the name Yaakov, represents. Yaakov represents the minor details, the things that people trample with their heels. A second place where we find this idea is in Breshit, right? When you look at Parshat Breshit, when this time, right, many people say that this angel of Asa was also the Satan, was the devil. And when you look in Parshat Breshit, we see when the Satan came in the form of a snake, what happens? He trips Chava up. How? By convincing her that, oh, it's okay, you could taste this, you could do this. The little details. It's not, right, you can touch the tree, it's not a big deal. Now that you've touched it, nothing happened to you, you can taste it. He trips her up on the details. And then what happens? At the end, when they're all getting punished, what's the punishment of the snake? Hu yishuvcha rosh v'ata teshufenu akev. Hashem curses the snake and says that forever, for all eternity, you will strike at the heels of man, and man will strike at your head. Right? But even the symbolic significance of that is that while the Satan will always try and get us to, when the Satan will try and get us to do a major sin, right? Kill someone, worship idols. No, hu yishufenu barosh. We'll always hit him on the head. We'll always be able to combat that. No, I'm not going to kill somebody. I'm not going to worship idols. I'm not going to be that guy. I won't do that big deal avera. But the snake yishuvcha ba'akev. The snake will bite us at our heels. That in the minor mitzvot, in the things that the details that people tend to ignore, that's where he'll bite us. And what happens is when you start, right, as it said so nicely in this week's Torah and Chill WhatsApp group, that the minor mitzvahs, when you perform a mitzvah, it brings on another mitzvah. It causes you to, it becomes a pattern. You perform one mitzvah, you perform another mitzvah, and they lead to each other. When you perform an avera, however, it often causes you to perform more. So where the Satan's strategy here is to try and get you to fail in the smaller details, and then eventually that will build up to the bigger avera that he'll get you to commit. So we have the name of Yaakov representing all these little details, the minor mitzvot that we tend to ignore. And the name Yisrael is, everything. Am Yisrael, Bnei Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael. It's this big, connection with God. This overarching title of our devotion to God and the fact that we are always trying to do our best and to perform the big mitzvot and make Hashem happy, trying to keep Shabbat, trying to be a Kiddush Hashem, all those big things. So now we understand a little bit more now we understand the answer to the first question. What is this Torah portion coming to teach us? What is the idea behind this fight? Okay, the fight that was happening took place because the angel of Esau, the Satan, said to himself, Yaakov doesn't deserve to be the chosen son. Why did Esau lose and Yaakov win? Yaakov stole the brachot. I can get Yaakov. Why? Because while Yaakov's this big tzaddik who learns all day, maybe he doesn't pay attention to details. Maybe the little things, sometimes he slacks. And so he goes and he starts to fight and he starts to